Hey everybody, welcome and let's paint this beautiful sunflower. I really love the back side of the sunflowers. They're so beautiful, just as beautiful as the front. And I found this image on pixabay.com and it's free for commercial use. So if you can find that there, that'd be great. And then what I do is if you want to draw it, that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to draw it, then you could print it out and just do a black and white print and then get some graphite paper or put graphite on the back of your paper and apply that to your 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. I think the brand here is a Winsor & Newton that I'm using. And then I have my colors listed previously. So I'm grabbing my lemon yellow and it's pretty thick. I'm not watering it down too much and I'm pretty much covering the whole entire flower. I want to leave the whites of the page where you see it on the image that is here. So I will add it and then I'm going to blot it away because it's not a pure white. So now that I've completed painting in all my lightest values of the sunflower, I want to put in my darkest values. And the reason I'm doing this is because the sunflower is so translucent in the sun with its petals. It's so beautiful. And in order to create my middle values and know what they should be, I want to put in my darkest darks. And I'm mixing, I think, my Paynes gray with whatever darker green I have on my palette. And I'm very carefully going around my leaf petals in the back of the stem there and the back of the flower with my silver black velvet #6 brush. And it has a very nice beautiful point to that brush, but I think whatever brush you could find, sometimes when you go to the art stores they have bins in the front with really great brushes that are for sale, and these could be synthetic or they can be real hair, but they're discontinued or something. So I really, every time I go to the art supply store, the first thing I head for is that bin. So I have a lot of brushes, but I really found this one to be one of my favorites. You'll find your favorites as you go along because the more you practice your watercolors, and if you really love it, you're going to start investing in better supplies. And better supplies usually end up creating a better painting. The paper that you use, as well as the brushes you use and the paints you use, will make a better quality painting, and it will behave better as well, and it makes it easier for you to create and not worry about things that might not go so beautifully in your painting. So really look and observe your reference photo. And I know photographs aren't always perfect, but this one was exceptionally beautiful. So I am just trying to match the color, the local color, which is the color, and then the value of that color. So is it dark? Is it light? So I'm finding a red, and is it a dark value or a light red? A light value. So to create a lighter value in watercolors, of course, you're going to add water. If you want a darker value, you're going to leave more of the pigment in the water solution. So if you were to paint your petal like I just did here with a lighter value, and I just painted the whole thing because I know it needs to be up in value, then I will drop in another color with more pigment in it near the base of the petal, and that will just bleed naturally into the rest of the petal and create an organic type of a bloom there, or how it blends organically. So if you're gonna create a area and saturate it with some water and pigment like I'm doing here, and if I were to let that dry a little bit more and then add the other pigment to it, it's going to create like a crazy bloom. So I really wanted to control. So here I put down maybe a little too much water and I took some away. And I really love in watercolor, I should say, the happy accidents and the way it dries and it just kind of does its own thing, because every pigment actually is made out of different minerals, and they react differently. So some might have more granular structure to it, and it might have little grains in it, and that'll affect the way it dries. And some of them don't. They're really smooth, and some of them are really transparent. I can literally wipe it off my paper, whereas some pigments, if I put it down, it's so intensely saturated that it does not pull off of the paper at all. And you will find this as you go along as a watercolor artist. So as you're adding your colors, and I'm adding my middle tone oranges here, you want to go with the shape of the petal. So they have those veins, and I drew some in. You can just eyeball it, but you want to go with the shape and the direction of the way the petal is formed. So I'm always making those veins towards the middle. I made some lines here, and I'm going to go soften those lines up with a little bit of water. And it's very subtle. And you learn this, like I said, practice, practice, practice. If you want to just do petals separately, and maybe I should do a video on just doing petals separately so you could figure out how to control the water and control the pigment on your watercolor. So right here you see I painted in the middle part of the stem, and so I used my darker dark and I added a yellowy green to that stem, and I really love that yellow green. I'm sure I used my hooker's green or whatever I had there, sap green, and added some yellow to it to make it more yellow, and it's pretty saturated. So whenever you have a warmer colors, we have two greens here. One is a warm green and one is not a warm green. So it's cool. The cool tends to recede and the warm always comes forward in our way of seeing things as a human. So and the dark area there behind that petal that is cool is actually just helping you to focus better. It gives a focal area that really pops. So whenever you're creating artwork and you want something to look like it's in front of something, you want that color usually to be warmer and the color behind it to be cooler. So these greens are still a middle value, the same values as your petals. And of course they go up and down a little bit on each stem and each part of the leaves. So I carefully painted around the veins in the leaves instead of masking them out, and I think it looks pretty natural that way. I've been doing this a long time, so again, just take a picture of a leaf and copy it and put it down on a scrap or a piece of watercolor paper where you practice, and just practice kind of going around the veins of leaves. If you keep doing this, it becomes like second nature and it makes muscle memory, and you just learn so much from that. And yet again, I probably, as I'm talking about this, I will probably create a video to show you just that. So now we've established the major portions of our lights and dark values. So I see that I need parts of this stem and leaf to pop. So I'm adding dark to the side of the stem, and I just drew a line down and I added water to soften the edge. So you have a sharp edge and a soft edge. When you're working wet on wet, that would have bled in. So I had to make sure that that stem was completely dry before I added that dark line. And then you take the water and you soften the other edge, and it actually makes it look like it's turning in the light. So we keep looking at our reference photo and deciding where we need to add more color, more darks, more lights. And we're saving the real detail for the end of the painting. So we're almost there right now. I've added a lot of veins in the petals. I've gone around all the veins in the leaves. I've left the white edge of the leaves so you can see it's almost like bright sunlight or pure sunlight. And you know that's not pure white there because we added some yellow to it and we wiped it off, but it does actually appear to be a white right now, which would be the brightest white and the closest thing probably to you in the painting. Okay, so all of our petals are pretty much painted in with a middle tone value, and we've kind of established where the veins are, but it's kind of flat. So let's add some more darks to those petals, but do it subtly in glazing and take your time. So really look at your reference photo and decide where you're going to put some more darks into that into those petals to create that illusion of depth. So as you can see now, I've added a lot more darks to those petals that are near the dark areas of the leaf area, and it has really made the whole flower really pop more. And so now I'm grabbing some white gouache because this is a very fuzzy plant. It's like there's little fuzzy hairs on the leaves, and we're at the stage now where we can start adding the fine details in. So I'm really looking at my reference photo and deciding only where squint your eyes and figure out where it should go first. Whatever like hits you first, like it should go at the edge of this leaf, then just go for that. You don't want to put it like everywhere, because if you do that, I mean, our mind will just fill it in, and it just adds just enough detail to make this look realistic and really sing. So now I'm finishing up the details of this painting, and what you should do probably is take a step back and look at it before you are finished with it, and decide, even give it a day with fresh eyes the next day, because sometimes I tend to overdo things and just carry it a little bit too far when I should have probably left it alone. So that said, this painting is finished. I'm so happy that you stayed with me for this. And if you really liked it and you want to see more of my content, please subscribe and hit the like button, because it really helps me out and I can create more videos for you. Until then, be safe and be well, and I'll see you in the next video.